The Avalanche are back, baby. Their quest to defend the Stanley Cup begins tonight. And the Broncos are also working too, so we are here as well, talking about some Broncos, taking you up to closer to the Avalanche start time. Henry, I'm loving the sweater you've got going on.
Oh, thanks. It was a knockoff. It was like $20 back before I could afford real ones.
You know what's great about that? I can't tell at all.
Yeah, see, usually I can really tell, like especially with the Bronco jerseys.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because they're so easy to screw up.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly couldn't tell.
No.
Which is weird, because usually you sit there and it's like, oh, fake.
Yep. Even when you came in, you just outed yourself that it was fake right away, and I was looking at it. I still can't tell.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I love it. Hopefully the Avs are wearing real ones tonight, though.
Hopefully.
And hopefully they absolutely dominate this playoffs just like they did last year. And speaking of dominating, if you want to dominate, check out our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, the presenting sponsor of this show. Use that promo code DNVR when you sign up in order to get $150 in bonus bets by placing a $5 bet on any NBA game. Henry, how are you doing today?
Not bad. I'm trying to think, has anything really happened? Not really. I just watched a bunch of basketball last night.
Yep, me too.
Yep.
Me too.
Not much to report back.
Are the Warriors done?
Ooh, I don't think so.
What do you think of Draymond's stomp?
Oh, I mean, you just can't step on people. Like, I don't know.
Even when they're holding on to you, where the only place you can step is their belly?
I mean, it looked more like ribs than belly, but I don't know.
I'm sure he was pretty intentional about hitting the rib area.
Exactly. Like, I don't like to try to guess what people's intents were with that kind of stuff. Like, that's the job the referees have to do, and it's not fun. But just the fact that Draymond kicks guys in the nuts so much and, like, does so many of those sorts of things, it's like, yeah, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Draymond absolutely never deserves the benefit of the doubt, because once you kind of build that into who you are, you're going to be called like that.
Exactly, and you deserve it for all the things that you've done.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. In the first 3 minutes of the show, we're getting nuts kicking, already mentioned.
Yeah.
Where does that mean the rest of the show's going, Henry?
I don't know. I don't know where you go after nuts kicking.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because it's not the doctor.
Are the Broncos going to be kicking the nuts of some other teams in trades? Broncos, 5 picks in this draft. That's like criminal to George Payton. George Payton likes to have over 10 picks in the draft. He's made that clear in the past when he spoke with Broncos media, but he's literally lived that in his past too. Since he took over as assistant general manager of the Minnesota Vikings and his 2 drafts with the Broncos, he's averaged over 10 picks per draft, which is wild. That is so impressive. And he's had drafts where he's had like 14 picks. He's had so many picks because he likes to trade. And so today we're going to talk about that. Should the Broncos trade up? Should they trade down? Should they stay put? Of course, they don't have a pick until number 67 in the draft. And then they do have back-to-back picks, 67 or 68.
Yep.
So when I say that, what should they do? Just right off the top of your head.
Honestly, I think their picks are in pretty good spots.
Oh,
considering like the value that they have.
Sure.
A couple at the top of the 3rd. I mean, those are guys who will turn into starters.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not right away, depending on the position, I guess. But, I mean, if you trade down, you're probably picking up another like 6th and 7th in the deal too. Or maybe you throw a 6th. I don't know. It could be a mess. But you just don't have the ammo to justify moving up in the draft, I don't think. Like, I guess if you could trade a 3rd and a 4th to get like a reasonable 2nd, then you have a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th and a 6th. But really, at that point, you're saying this is probably a 2-player class. Right. And by keeping that 4th round pick, at least you get to say, hey, that's 50-50 that this is a player for us in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. So the Broncos have 2 third-round picks, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th. You are fair to say, like, your 5th and your 6th round picks, you can't really count on them for anything this year outside of maybe some special teams contributions. But if you're being fair going into a draft and evaluating the draft, the Broncos really have 3 chances at getting guys who can compete this year. And even that 4th round pick, that may be even a tough ask. But those 2 third round picks should be guys, unless you're getting a quarterback, unless you're getting a tackle, where obviously they would sit behind Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey any other position really, and obviously I don't think you're going to get a guard, like just a guard specific, but any other position with those third-round picks should be able to come in and have an impact. But if you package both of those up and move, then you may be talking about a one-person class, Henry. And for a team that needs some help still, that could be really tough. So that's a good point.
Yep. And, I mean, just by the normal draft trade chart, they're all different now, and who knows which one's best. But just by the basic one, if they were to trade 67 and 68, they should get either 39 or 40. Mm-hmm. That's not that great to me.
It's almost a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
You
39 or 40.
You could convince yourself that you're getting a first-round pick that slid out of the first round.
But then if you're convincing yourself that you're getting a first-round pick, then you could much more easily convince yourself that you're trading away 2 second-round picks.
Yeah, that's true. 2 second-round picks that fall. But let's say Sean Payton looks at this team, and here's the argument for trading up. And I think this would be a Sean Payton move because Sean Payton has been the opposite of George Payton, where George Payton values quantity over quality. Sean Payton values quality over quantity. That's hard with the two Paytons and quality and quantity. Yep. He values having the right picks, not necessarily a lot of them, which is the complete opposite of George Payton, which is very fascinating going into their first draft together. I think it's not as fascinating because they only have 5 picks to work with, so I don't think we're going to be able to see such a big difference between the two philosophies. But Sean Payton might say, boy, all I need to compete on offense this year, to complete the offense, is a center. And there's a center that's fallen. Let's move up and get him. How far could the Broncos move up, according to the draft value chart, if they traded their 4th and 67? So 1/3 and 1/4.
67, it's 255 plus 78. So that would be
like 325-ish?
Yep, plus a few. 333.
333 would put them
56 or 57.
So 10 picks.
Yeah.
Man.
it's not worth it.
To lose unless you think like there's a day one starter there.
Yep.
And if you think there's a day one starter there, then I think it's worth it. And the positions maybe center, defensive line, safety, I guess. Outside of that, it probably isn't worth it because there's probably not a day one starter there.
Yeah, you mentioned it with Sean Payton. So the Saints, in the last 16 drafts, have traded up 24 times. They haven't traded down since 2007.
How about that? And that was Sean Payton's second year there.
Exactly.
So in the past 15 years, they've never traded down.
Yep.
How about that, trading up 24 times?
Yeah.
Wait, is that just first round or is that?
I think that's in total.
In total, they haven't traded down at all in the draft since 2007.
Yep.
What would be so fascinating is to look at Jeff George Payton's numbers.
No.
But I bet George does trade up. When you actually look at the Vikings, they have averaged over 1 first-round pick per draft since George Payton's been there. And so it's not like he's always trading out of the first round, but he just likes to move up, move down, move around. And Sean Payton's like, nope, I just move up. That's all I do.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, recently it's because they just had all the money problems. Like they were constantly having to patch significant holes.
Right.
You know, it's early on. Who knows what that's about? Maybe that is just what they like to do. But I don't know. Recently they didn't have a choice because like the Broncos are in a weird place where they aren't trying to, I don't know, prop up Drew Brees at the end of his career.
Right.
You know, they're not trying to squeeze whatever they can out of this next like 2-3 year window. And they just have so few young players. Like, they have one of the oldest rosters in the NFL. And they're not good. And that's just a bad combination. So
The Saints?
No, the Broncos.
Oh.
Yeah. And you just need to start filling that in with some young players.
Right. I see what
hope
you're
you get lucky.
Yep. But are you really going to be able to do that with 5 draft picks? Like, that's
Better
why
than 3.
at this point... But how much better is that, though? That's why I could see this draft just being like, this is a wash. Let's just try to get 2 impact players in this draft and then move on.
I mean, it's possible.
You know, the last time Sean Payton's first pick in the draft was at 67 or later? Never.
Wow.
Never. This is the latest that Sean Payton's been drafting ever. And this is a guy that likes to move up. He likes to move up. And that's why when I look at this, who's in charge, Henry? At the end of the day, who's in charge of this roster?
Probably Sean Payton.
Team? Yeah, Sean Payton. And so you have two competing philosophies, I think. George Payton maybe wanting to move back. He could probably move 67, go back 10 spots and pick up a late fourth, fifth round pick, something like that. George Payton, that could be very valuable to him, because then instead of 3 guys that we said, then you make it 4. And especially instead of trading up and getting 2 guys, you get 4 guys. George Payton can convince himself of that. But Sean Payton's about winning now. He's proven that the moment he got here. He's proven that his 15 years with the Saints as well. And so that's why I just think you have these two competing philosophies. When push comes to shove, I think Sean Payton's going to be the one that prevails here.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think there's a good chance that they just kind of stay put.
Okay.
I really do. I think
they're going to get antsy.
Really?
All of Thursday night, they're sitting there, letting the draft go the first round.
Are they even watching?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, because it's Jerry Jeudy. Does someone call on Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah.
Does someone call on Garrett Bowles? Not necessarily that they're going to be shopping, but they're going to be paying attention, seeing what's going on, seeing the players that are falling, because what if near the end of the first round, they're like, this center's falling right now. Let's start checking the phones for tomorrow, packaging 67 and 68 to move up to 38 in order to get this guy. So they'll be watching, and that's a 4-5 hour night.
Yep.
That gets long. Then all of Friday, they're sitting there checking the phones a little bit. George Payton working the phones, seeing where they could move up, and then they have to wait all of the second round as well. I think that they're going to get a little antsy, and they're going to identify someone that they really like. Because remember, there's 66 guys that are going to be drafted before the Broncos pick. I don't think they're going to wait that long.
I'll say they will.
Okay?
I'll say they will.
And just stay put.
Yeah. I think at some point you probably see something move. Like, they're
not before 67.
Yeah, I don't think they go up from 67. But they could say, you know what, we don't like 2 guys on the board right now. Let's see if we can drop down 10 picks and pick up a 4th. You know, there could be something like that, I guess. But
how about a compromise? You move up from 67, use a 4th or a 5th to move up 5-10 spots to go get a guy, and then you use 68 to drop back into late in the 3rd round, early in the 4th round, and you pick up another 4th round pick. That's Sean Payton getting his wish, and George Payton getting his wish, and you stick with kind of 5 draft picks.
You could basically you'd move up from 68 to 60, or no, 67 to 60, and move down from
so that's 68
to
now.
78.
Okay, yeah. 2nd round pick and 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
So you're keeping it. You're just moving up to get that impact. That's my guess. That's what's going to happen. Especially both of these guys like to move around, just in different ways. So I don't think they're going to stay put.
Yeah. I'm curious. I mean, I do believe George Payton when he says that they really think that's the sweet spot in this draft. Like, just the fact that it isn't, I don't know, there's good talent at the top, but there isn't depth of talent all the way through the second half of the first round. And then there's just a bunch of guys who could kind of put in any order from the end of the first round all the way through, I don't know, about the top 5 or 10 picks of the 3rd. So I kind of believe him when he says, like, we think we can get 2 good players there. And you're kind of just taking your pick of some guys that you think are pretty similar if you move up slightly.
See, I hope that they fall in love with one of those guys and feel like it's worth it to move up instead of just being like, yeah, any of these 10 players will be fine. I don't want it to be like, we got a good player. I want it to be like, man, we got a player that we loved. And yeah, did we have to move back in the 3rd round in order to move up with this one to get earlier in the 3rd round or even the 2nd round? Yeah, we did. But I would love that.
See, I hate the idea of just going after the guy you love.
Why?
Well, because that's more subjective. You know, that's more of like, oh, this is my favorite. And there's something to it. And if he falls, that's great. But like so the big problem with draft, so the draft trades in general, so you always get better value by trading down than trading up. Like that's just when you go back through all the drafts, those teams always do better. All the draft charts also, like, they're skewed based on the way people do it. If everything were balanced, the value of the picks lower would be much, much higher, and the higher picks would be much lower.
And typically, on top of that, teams teams that want to move back aren't like trying to move back. They're just like, yeah, we're actually open to moving back. Teams that want to jump forward aren't like, yeah, we're open to moving forward. They're the aggressive ones. They're the ones that are calling. They're like, we want to move forward.
But then the reason that the higher picks tend to not live up to the expectations for what you expect given how much teams give up is because GMs think that they can outsmart the other GMs. And so they say, well, yeah, we're giving up a little bit of quality, like a total value by moving up to this pick, but I know this guy's awesome. And so I'm outsmarting it. That's where I get my edge back.
Right.
You know, and obviously it just doesn't work because everybody does that.
Yep.
And so that kind of philosophy of this is the guy, like you kind of just got to stick to your draft board. And maybe there is somebody who says like, hey, we think this is a first round pick and he's still here at 58, then maybe you do it. But if you really do think like, hey, these are all guys who are whatever, 50 to 70, and they're all kind of in the same tier, we're going to get a couple trading up because you're like, I feel something with this guy. Those gut feelings typically don't work for general managers.
See, Henry, you're using logic, which
True.
you typically do, which makes a lot of sense. It's logical. I'm not going to argue with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think the human nature of this,
It is.
they're going to, George Payton and specifically Sean Payton's going to say, man, we're not going to have much of a draft class anyways. Let's just go get that one impact guy and move up. I don't think they're going to be packaging 67 and 68.
No.
I think that would be reckless in terms of like putting a draft together. Then you really are potentially getting a one-player class, maybe a two-player class. You can't do that. But I do think that one of the 4th or 5th round picks they have will be packaged to move up a couple of spots to go get their guy. And if it's their guy, I personally like that. I see where you're coming from, though. Henry, something else that we need to talk about. Sean Payton hasn't been afraid to use future draft capital in order to benefit him this year. Could you see that happening? That
makes way more sense to me.
Oh,
I think.
geez.
Yeah.
Boy, we're just seeing this so opposite.
Really?
I would hate it.
I have a feeling you think you just punt this year. Like you say, like, this is a bad draft, it's just over. Right? Is that kind of where you're going? It's like you get to reset next year, you get all your picks back. Just accept that this one's going to be bad.
No, not necessarily. So what's your argument for being okay or thinking that it could happen?
You just want to balance things out a little bit. Like I said, like this is a super old roster. You don't have a lot of players on rookie contracts who can contribute, and that's why you have to keep patching holes up with free agents, and that means you're overpaying. You also have the Russell Wilson contract kicking in, so it becomes even more important. And as you try to like build a foundation here, which is what Sean Payton wants to do, there's no reason to wait until year 2 to try to build that foundation. Now, the reason is because you get more value in year 2, like you lose value by trading up to this year, but I think that kind of balances out because of just the need that the Broncos have for young players. And so if you wanted to say, we'll take our 2nd round pick next year and trade it for, hopefully like a late second, maybe throw in a 5th to keep it in the 2nd round.
Henry, let me just stop you right there because I think the 2nd kind of makes most sense. Broncos don't have a 2nd.
That's right. They already traded that one. Yeah, so that makes it tough. But maybe the trade up is you use next year's 3rd. I don't know. You're just taking such a hit.
And that's what I don't like about it is that 2nd kind of feels like the sweet spot in order to use for this year. But since you don't have it, you do have a 1st. Be reckless. Do not move 1sts right now. Don't do it until you know who your quarterback is of the future.
Unless you get a crazy deal. Like if you can turn that into if you want, my line would be the Chiefs want to flip it, you get number 32 this year. I think I would do that. Like you're moving down.
No.
Like you're probably moving down, 15 picks, but you get to move it up a year. That'd be my line. That'd be worth it.
No.
It absolutely would be.
No, that's a nightmare.
Yes.
No,
There's
don't
no
do
way
that.
they'd offer that.
Because the Broncos and the Chiefs pick this year is actually pick 31 because the Dolphins have to forfeit their pick. But you're kind of crazy to think that next year the Broncos would have the 31st pick or the 32nd pick. So to me, and I know that when you trade a pick in the future, you lose a round value. So so it makes sense from that standpoint. But no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to gamble that first round pick next year and say it's going to be a pick in the 20s. We did that with Russell Wilson, and the Broncos completely fell flat on their face with that one. Keep that first round pick. Don't do that. Don't do it. Because then, because then you're giving the Chiefs especially a better pick next year than they have this year.
But again, I mean, if you trade a first, you expect a second for it. If you trade a second, you expect a third for it. Like, there's just that 1 round discount.
You're right, the 1 round discount, but that's why I'm saying I'm not desperate to get up this year.
Okay.
I'm not desperate to get in the first round, late second round this year.
Yeah, that's fair. And I don't think they are either. Again, that's what I guess George Payton didn't say that. He never said he didn't like the back end of the first round, but that's kind of been the theme among everybody else talking about, and what he said kind of lines up with that.
So then that's just where maybe, and where I'm not going to disagree with you, is if you want to say trade next year's 5th for a 6th this year, like,
yeah,
okay, I still don't love it that you're losing value there. But for me, like, I'm not going to get too picky about those, but just, I'm not trading first unless you get a top 10 first, which no team is going to do.
There's no way.
No way.
I don't even think you're getting 31.
That just makes it even more sickening to me. But you could be right about that. I'm not trading a second round pick next year because you don't have one, and then a third round pick to be in the 4th round to drop from day 2 to day 3.
Yeah,
I don't like it. So I just don't think that the value makes sense in order to do that this year.
Yeah, it'd have to be like you want to get up from 67, so you include next year's 3rd, and that gets you to whatever 58.
Ugh, that would be disgusting.
Yeah,
that would be disgusting because the Broncos have this huge gap this year where they don't have a pick from pick 1 to 67. Next year, the Broncos are going to have another semi-big gap, not as big as this year, but if you trade that 3rd round pick next year, then you're going to have just as big of a gap. Sure, you will have a 1st round pick, which will be nice, but then you're not going to be picking all of day 2.
Yep.
Which is tough.
Yeah, that would be tough. But I mean, I'd rather pick day 1 than day 2.
But Henry,
and I guess they have the bonus 3rd from the Saints. So they'll have the extra 3rd next year.
So they'll have an extra, right, because they flipped 2nd and 3rd round picks. You're right. So maybe that's one of the picks that they move this year in order to move up or something.
No 2nd, an extra 3rd, an extra 5th, no 6th, and an extra 7th.
Okay, so what I could see is them using a 3rd in order to get in the 4th this year, next year's 3rd in order to get into the 4th. That's about all I can see, and that's all that I think would be responsible to do.
Or you trade that 3rd with your 4th.
Which 3rd?
Next year's 3rd with this year's 4th.
In order to get in the 3rd?
Try to get another one in there.
3/3?
Yeah. Then you see if you can get like 3 top 100 picks. I mean, top 100 is the line where you say this guy should be a starter eventually.
If they're doing that, I bet it includes them moving up with one of their picks.
It could be.
So you get a 2nd round pick this year, 2/3 at the cost of your 5th this year and a 3rd next year.
Yeah.
I could be okay with it. And then you're saying you should have a strong 3-man class.
Yeah.
And you should absolutely have one day 1 starter with that late second round pick.
You should.
Okay. Oh, you know what, Henry? I think we just might have mixed some Sean Payton and George Payton philosophies there.
I think the key is those future picks.
Now, one thing to not discount. Sean Payton likes to trade future picks. We've talked about that. That's what we're talking about right now. Sean Payton also likes to kind of go all in. What did the Broncos do right when free agency started? They kind of went all in.
Yep.
So to think that they're not going to do Sean Payton's philosophy right away, we've already thrown that out the window. They are absolutely doing Sean Payton's philosophy right away. So that's why it's not something that you can that you can forget that they're going to do. And 5 picks this year. How many picks next year? You said, did it balance out to 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8.
Yep.
So you have more draft capital next year. You trade 1 next year to 1 this year. You kind of balance it out more. 7 next year, 6 this year. You kind of sell yourself on a draft class there. Kind of.
Yep. Let's see. No, they wouldn't be close to getting any comp picks next year. So that's a shame. I guess because Evero's already gone, so you wouldn't get that one.
And you have the Broncos just spent a lot of money.
Exactly.
So,
and like if they had gone for Caleb McGarry instead of Mike McGlinchey, he wouldn't have counted for comp picks.
Right.
Because they declined the 5th-year option. So there are a couple of things like that they could have done, but they didn't do it. So no comp picks next year. Hopefully the year after there's something. I mean, because what you have, Josie will hit free agency. You have to imagine the Broncos aren't spending much next year.
No. So, and they've made it very clear that this year was an anomaly, not going to be the trend.
So you got Josie. I don't even know who else could give you a comp pick. And even Josie, like, you're looking at like a 6th or a 7th, and you're probably canceling that one.
I was going to say, and it's not like the Broncos are going to spend no money next year. They're still going to spend some.
Yeah. I don't think they're getting any the year after either.
Yeah, I think you're right on there.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is rough.
Alberto, KJ Hamler.
No, stop.
They would need to do something crazy.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, Hank, we kind of figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a conclusion to Bunkergate.
Oh, wow, that's right, we do.
You may or may not know what I'm talking about, and let's dive into it. Not a bunker, but let's dive in to Bunkergate after I tell you about pins and aces, because if you are finding yourself in a bunker, you are going to want to be looking stylish, and there's no better apparel for the golf course than our friends over at Pins and Aces. Not just on your body, but on your clubs as well. They have got some awesome things for your golf bag, for your golf clubs, for your golf body. They've got really cool things. In fact, I just got my first order of Pins and Aces in the mail a couple of days ago. Wow. And man, I'm ready to rock it this summer. And if that's not good enough, you can get 50% off, or I'm sorry, not 50%, 15% off and free shipping by using the code DNVR over at pinsandaces.com. Use that code DNVR to get 15% off your first order and free shipping at Pins and Aces. They've got amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even beer sleeves. It's a product that keeps 7 beers or seltzers cold, so you can play an entire round of golf and still have some cold ones come the 18th hole. So check them out, pinsandaces.com.
And head on over to Shady Rays because it's summer now. I think it is a little bit sunnier now. It wasn't super sunny this morning.
Yeah.
Or at least
it's a cloudy day today.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be 75.
Wow, that is warm.
Yeah.
75. So great day for sunglasses.
You're wearing a sweater.
Yeah, it's not like super warm. I'll be fine. I've got shorts on. But yeah, it's the time to get in on our code DNVR to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Go to shadyrays.com. There's a link right there that you can click on. And like I said, use the code DNVR. You get 50% off 2 pairs of sunglasses. And it's great stuff. If you break them or lose them, you'll get a brand new pair, no questions asked. Definitely check out this website. Definitely buy some sunglasses from Shady Rays.
And definitely try not to end up in any bunkers, especially if your name is Russell Wilson, because, Henry, if this would have been you, if this would have been me, if this would have been anyone else in Colorado, this isn't a story. But it's a $250 million quarterback. It's your franchise quarterback. It is Russell Wilson. What are we talking about? Over this weekend, a photo came out. Very blurry photo, posted on Reddit, and it says, watch Russell Wilson flip his golf cart into the bunker at Arrowhead. Of course it had to be at Arrowhead. Like, why at any other golf course, and it wouldn't have been as bad. You see the picture, you cannot tell that Russell Wilson's in there. So at first you're like, is this real? Is this fake? Clearly a golf cart is very tipped over and a bunker in that picture. Then you see some more follow-up. Some people saying, yeah, this is real. He was driving. He wasn't driving. Then we get a tweet from an actual golf company that covers golf, which is, can you pull that up here? We get this one. Can you zoom it in as well? Where a golf cart, same spot, but it's flipped back up in the right position. Can you read it to us, what it says here on the tweet? I'm not connected. Oh my gosh, Yahir isn't connected. He's got the headset on. He's tricking us right now, pretending like he's connected.
All right, according to someone there, this was Thursday and Russ wasn't driving, just in the car. They were reversing, the car locked up and were too close to the edge and it tumbled in. Their teammates ran over to pick it up and push it out of the bunker.
Oh, okay. So
Wow.
maybe a little more clarity on Bunkergate here. Russ wasn't driving. He was in the cart, and he was with some of his teammates here. And it was an honest mistake. It's not like they were just flying over the golf cart or the course itself. And then where the real clarity comes in is Russell Wilson. Confirmed this himself this morning. Can we get that tweet up here as well? Boy, Yahir's not following my lead.
He is not.
You know, I thought he's listening to us, and he's.
Oh no, we heard. Oh, there it is.
And then so Russ quote tweets that one with not only saying, what does it say here?
It's very small.
The real question is, did we get from the bunker to the green? Hashtag par. Good times.
Wow.
And then he posts a little GIF for those not watching on YouTube and listening on the podcast of a guy falling down into a bunker. And you know what? Good for Russ for having some fun with this.
Yeah.
And also confirming Bunkergate was real.
Yes, that is good. Also, should we be surprised that he was riding and not driving?
Oh, wow. Yep.
Yep.
I've heard another drive at Arrowhead ends in a turnover.
Yep. Love that.
I mean, tough ones. And we obviously knew about this yesterday. Didn't want to say anything until Russ confirmed it for us. So thanks, Russ, for that. And this just kind of makes him seem a little more relatable. And so
Isn't that weird?
I like that he's actually having fun with this.
Yeah, no, it makes him way more likable, which is weird. Like usually you see like, oh, football player flipped his golf cart. Oh no, this idiot.
Yeah,
This is like, nope.
You're like, how many beers did he have?
Exactly. Like that's so irresponsible. But with him, it's like, nice. That
Yeah.
sounds like fun. Golfing with your teammates. Like,
right.
Good for you, Russ. Act out a little.
You're so right. Like, I don't know. If this is Aqib Talib, and we love
Exactly.
Aqib,
Could you
but you're
imagine?
like, oh man, the shenanigans that was happening for him to tip the golf cart.
What people would say on Twitter. Like it would be insane.
Yep, exactly. But Russ, it's just kind of a fun thing, relatable.
Definitely.
Yeah, and as Ashton's saying, just putting you here on blast right now. I can't believe we got 20 seconds of producer Yahir on mute.
This morning has been a complete utter mess today. I am sorry, you guys.
No, he wasn't just on mute. His mic wasn't even plugged in.
I wasn't planning on talking today.
You have to be prepared. You're pulling up tweets.
Yeah, here, we're going to put you under the fire every single day. Just out of nowhere, we're just going to call you up.
And I'm just going to talk without a mic, and you guys are just going to keep getting yelled at. Nobody knows how I look.
You know what?
It's true.
That does bother Ryan a lot more than me, so I'll let you off the hook.
I know it's Ryan more than yells at. Ryan yells at me all the time about this.
Speaking of being put on blast, Hank, you were put on blast. Of course, the team that you mentioned, the Broncos could trade up to the first round.
Yeah.
You had 31 options. You chose the Chiefs.
The point was I want a first round pick for it. I'm not trading for a second. Just so happens to be
It could have been like the Eagles.
Yeah,
at
you
pick
could have done-
30.
but that's
the
not my line.
Bills.
I would take pick 31. I just want first round pick. I want fifth year option.
Oh, so you wouldn't take pick 32?
No, because I forgot they didn't have one.
Oh, okay. You would take pick 31 though.
Yes.
And a lot of people thought the reason that you would do that is to get your team, the Chiefs, into a better draft position next year.
Honestly,
That's not it at all.
All you had to say is, "I'll take the last pick in the round." You don't even have to name the team.
See, now you hear's fine talking.
Yeah,
When he
now-
can just dump on you, he's fine talking.
Yeah, we got to unplug his mic again.
I'll unplug it myself. I'm more than happy to.
Yeah.
Well, Bunkergate's over.
Bunkergate. Yeah,
Should
there
we-
isn't much to talk about. There is there.
Should we get out of the bunker and into our player profile, getting ready for the draft?
Ooh,
9
yes.
days away. The Broncos pick is just in 10 days. Let's talk about someone that gets after the quarterback, Henry.
Yes. So they Byron Young.
It is not Byron Young.
Who
is
was it?
BJ.
July. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So LSU, kind of in a Von Miller mold. That's it's obviously dangerous stuff to be saying about somebody, but if you're drafting him, that's why you're drafting him, is to be that sort of guy. You see right there, the weaknesses, the size and strength. That was the thing about Von, is that he had another, I guess, inch on him, inch and a half maybe, But that was kind of the difference. Those were kind of the knocks on Vaughn as well. Now, Vaughn, way more productive, even more bendy than BJ Ojulari, who himself is a very bendy pass rusher. I think a captain on the team. I think 5.5 sacks last year. You like stuff like that. I think that's basically it. Not the longest player. I guess that's another piece. The arms are a little bit short, but not enough to really scare you.
Yeah, and when you even say that size and strength are issues, they certainly are. But it's not like he's coming in at 230 and he's going to need to bulk up to 255 in order to even see the field. He's 248 right now.
Yep.
So he does have the potential to get that size and strength. But Henry, you went to the top comp of Von Miller, which I don't mind. I like that because when you look at him and you see BJ at his best, he is able to jump the line extremely well. He's able to read the snap count well, and the bend, I think, is where you really hit it on the nose. He's got that Von Miller-esque bend. Vaughn's is still a lot better, but also Vaughn's probably wasn't that good coming out of college either, so comparing BJ to like prime Vaughn isn't fair, but that's where he's really good. He's really good at getting around the outside of the pass rusher, that quickness that allows him to get around the outside of that offensive tackle. And then his size and strength do hurt him, especially when an offensive lineman gets his hands on him. Then he's kind of just controlled and not able to do anything from there. I did see him have some good inside moves, though, because typically if you're a pass rusher, specifically a speed rusher in that bend, tackles are going to just start jumping that and just jumping on the outside. So you have to have that counter move of being able to bounce inside. And I saw many times on tape that he does have that counter move inside. And so I really like the potential as a pass rusher. Because of that, though, I think he's going to be gone by 67. So maybe this is one of the guys Vance Joseph falls in love with and says, we got to move up to the mid-50s, to the early 50s in order to get this guy. Don't think it makes sense with where the Broncos are right now. If a talented pass rusher, specifically rushing the passer, falls to you at 67, 68, I think you can take him. I don't think you can sacrifice 2 third-round picks, a third and a fourth-round pick, in order to go up and get him. I do think you need help at edge, but I don't know if you can really find that edge help this year just because of where that room would be. He would essentially be Nick Bonito 2.0 in terms of what you're getting. You're getting a talented pass rusher from college, but a guy that still has to become much better in many different aspects to see the field consistently. So I just don't know how he would fit in with the Broncos this year.
Exactly. And that was going to be my next question is, what do you do with Nick Bonito then? Because they are very similar. Like, a little bit different, but, I mean, they're speed rushers.
Yep.
And if anything, a little bit undersized speed rushers.
Right.
And so that alone makes them very similar.
Right.
It would be super redundant.
Yeah.
You'd be essentially drafting the same thing that you drafted last year, and he couldn't get on the field. And so what do you do? Do you trade him away? Do you make him your number 6 outside linebacker and he just sits in that room for another year?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, you'd probably just trade him and get what you can get, which wouldn't be anything great.
A fourth?
You'd love it. Probably more likely it's a 5th. But again, if you can either get a 5th-round pick or he doesn't see the field this year and then you got to do it next year, what's the better option?
Yeah.
And so that's a conversation that would come if they do go after BJ Ojulari. And I guess the other way you do it is just trade Jonathan Cooper for a 6th or a 7th. Probably not Baron Browning. Jake Martin is potentially gone if you want to keep Bonito too. So you could kind of make it if you add a rookie to this room, it's going to be a weird room. Because you got Randy Gregory, you got Baron Browning, who third-year player feels like a second-year player.
Yep.
And Nick Bonito and whoever it is, and Jonathan Cooper, who has like 14 starts, which is crazy.
That is
in
wild.
2 years.
That is wild.
Yeah. But so I don't know what exactly that is. But if you need a pass rusher, BJ Ojulari's there. Again, we all know what good pass rushers look like here. He disappears a little bit. I think that's if he had put up 10 sacks this year, then he would have been a first-round pick easily.
Yep.
And he didn't. Yeah, I think he had 7 the year before. So 7. Then becomes a captain, all that. 5.5 this year, especially slowed down late in the year. If you think that that's fluky, then you go get him.
And it just kind of a cherry on top for him if the Broncos were to select him or any team. You're getting a great teammate. You're getting a really good leader. Like you said, a captain. He also was awarded number 18. Lloyd Cushenberry was awarded a similar number title when he was down there at LSU. Just means you're a really good, what's it called? Figurehead for LSU football. So to me, good pass rusher. Talent is there. If the Broncos had like one really good overall edge player and they needed that number 2, he's probably worth taking a flyer on. But to go back-to-back years of using your very first pick on the draft at a questionable developmental edge player, with where the Broncos are, it doesn't make sense. And I agree with you. You probably have to move Nick Bonito because it just wouldn't make sense.
And honestly, if they still had Von Miller, this would make way more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because then you have somebody who can teach him how to do all these different things. That was such a big loss. Like, I get that they got, what was it, 2nd and 3rd for him?
Yep.
Those are good picks, but Von Miller or Greg Dulcich and Nick Bonito, give me Von Miller. Give me Von Miller in a landslide.
When you put it like that, now you are saving a bunch of money.
True.
But also you are using some of that money on Randy Gregory too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make that much sense. But how about the ceiling for BJ?
Yeah.
Von Miller-esque?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
the
there's no
floor?
reason he can't get you 10 sacks a year.
Man, that's hard. That's hard to pass up on, though. I do think he's going to be gone because of that upside. I do think he's going to be gone well before the Broncos pick. I think he's probably a mid-second round guy. But the floor, Nick Bonito rookie year. That is quite a range of guys there.
Yeah. I just don't know what they're going to do with that position. I wish they would have made a move already. And I get that you want to see how things fall, and then afterward you can get somebody out of there. But it's just so tough for me to try to add somebody with your first pick in the draft to potentially your deepest position. I think that is your deepest position on the roster.
With also a position you don't love, though. Typically when you say deep, it means you love it. But in this case, you don't. It's so awkward. But Henry, that's a position we should keep an eye on.
Definitely.
If the Broncos want more picks, trading Nick Bonito for a 4th or a 5th, trading Jonathan Cooper for a 5th or a 6th, trading, who else is there?
You wouldn't trade Baron Browning.
You wouldn't
Unless
trade
somebody
Baron
offered
Browning.
something crazy.
It would be those two.
Probably.
Who are you? An Aaron, not an Aaron Patrick, a Jake Martin for a 7th, something like that. Although his contract, a team probably wouldn't want to take that on because I think it is like $4 million this year.
The Broncos did, and he didn't disappoint. I guess he was hurt. A little bit, but when he was on the field, he was.
But I mean, that's
basically what you
another guy
expect.
that's there, just in terms of depth. Like he's definitely an NFL player, but
Easily.
Is he going to see the field if Baron Browning is healthy? If Randy Gregory's healthy? Obviously, big ifs with both of those guys.
Yeah.
If Nick Bonito takes a step up, no, then probably
That's
not.
the thing.
He's not going to see the field. So that's one position where the Broncos could add draft capital, but it's going to be very minimal.
Yep, and that's where maybe Sean Payton has watched Baron Browning and thinks he's really good. And if Baron Browning takes a step, then all of a sudden all of this makes sense.
Right.
Then you can throw in Nick Bonito when you want. Then you have Jonathan Cooper, who has a bunch of experience and has played pretty well. Jake Martin has a whole lot of experience. So if Baron Browning just takes a step and Randy Gregory stays healthy, it could be great.
Right.
But
so many question marks.
5 sacks for Baron Browning last year.
Outside of
more.
Russ, that's the biggest question mark on the team.
Yeah, probably.
Man, there's a lot of question marks. In a scary
There
way, but
are.
also like a potential upside way. It's not all bad. It's question marks that could turn out to be exclamation marks, or it's question marks that could turn out to be complete duds.
Yeah.
Man.
And, there's a chance that this new staff says, oh, you guys couldn't figure out how to make Nick Bonito work? You guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he's our 3rd down pass rusher, not Baron Browning.
Right.
Like, that potential is there. The problem is he just doesn't know where he's going. But who knows? If you give him the 3rd down snaps and say, just go around the edge and get to the quarterback. It didn't work last year. Maybe something changed.
Yeah.
Maybe he's bigger and stronger.
Maybe. That would be big time for the Broncos. Henry, look around our set. We got some awesome things. A John Elway bobblehead right in front of me. Also a Broncos mini helmet. You've got some sweet swag. We've got a lot of other cool Avalanche things. I'm looking at the Breck Brew Avalanche sign. We've got so many things, and so much of it is from our friends over at FOCO. That's one of the ways we make our sets around DNVR really cool is by checking out FOCO and using that code DNVR to get 10% off non-presale items by using that code DNVR. And if you want to get yourself some really cool memorabilia, apparel, novelty items, collectibles, toys, accessories, and much more, FOCO is going to hook it up. So check them out over at FOCO. That's FOCO, and you'll get 10% off by using that code DNVR. It's great for yourself. It's great for gifts. Even better for gifts. If you're getting 10% off, you don't have to tell the person who you're getting a gift for. They got 10% off. So check them out, FOCO.
And if they do find out that you got the gift for 10% off and they get angry and they start hitting you in the face with a gift, hopefully it's like a pillow gift and not like a bobblehead gift. That would be a rough one. Then call Backus and Schenker because they will help people who are seriously injured, and they have been doing that in Colorado for 25 years. There's no upfront fee to speak with them. There's no fee while they work on your case. There's no fee unless they win your case and they win money for you. They've won over $1 billion for clients, all in Colorado, and now they have offices all over Colorado, like in Denver, Aurora, Inglewood, Fort Collins. Wherever you are, they are too. Backus and Schenker has the strength and power to win your case with more than 30 lawyers on their staff. They'll help with all kinds of injury cases where you weren't at fault. It's car accidents or motorcycles or ride shares. If you're a pedestrian who gets hit by a truck, they can even help if you're injured at work. So call them at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free.
Man, someone in the comment section trying to get me in trouble again. Yeah, here, can you scroll up to the very, very top of this comment section? Let's see if he here is actually paying attention or not. Oh, he is.
No.
Look at it. No. To the very, very top. There we go. There we go. It was our guy, Scott. Maybe scroll down just a little bit. He says, would you guys rather have Budda Baker or Dalvin Cook? Before I answer this question, got to give a shout out to everyone listening to us.
Yes.
Listening to us, whether you're on YouTube watching us or listening to us on podcasts. You guys are great. When we take some clips that we do and put them out on Twitter, people like to just be extremely mean.
They do.
I think you guys understand why we were talking about Budda Baker.
Yeah.
Are we talking about him the rest of this week? No, we're not. But does it make sense for one show to talk about potentially adding a guy with a lot of connections? Absolutely. Yep. Oh my gosh, Henry, you would have thought I said F the Broncos on Twitter yesterday with how people were coming after us. And Scott trying to get us in more trouble by bringing up Budda again. Would you guys rather have Budda Baker or Dalvin Cook?
It's got to be Budda Baker. It just has to be.
Didn't think you were going to go that way, but I agree.
It just has to be. I don't know. Dalvin Cook has been healthier than I realized.
He's been not as good as I realized over the past 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, at least 1,100 yards in each of the last 4 seasons, though. Like
wasn't it on like 3.8 yards per carry or something?
4.4 this year. That was a career worst.
Okay, maybe not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, but again, like it's nothing all that special. And played every game last year before, missed 4, before that missed 3, before that missed 2, before that missed 2, before that missed 5, and before that was the rookie year where he only played 4. So, and there are like these little injuries that happen, but I don't know. It feels like with him, he misses half the season or more every year, but he doesn't. It really is just a couple games.
Yeah, no, it's really true. But the reason I'm taking Budda is I think Budda is still ascending as a player, and a 27 for a safety, I think you have a lot more years left as opposed to a running back. What was he, 27?
Yep.
28. So, I mean, same age. The running back's going to have fewer years left on him.
Yep, and you'd pay Dalvin 10.4 this year, 12 the next year, 13 the year after.
And at some point, he's probably going to want a contract increase as well. Dalvin's going to be an interesting one.
Yep.
Do they make a move on him? Minnesota's been bringing in a lot of running backs to potentially draft it, to look at for the draft with their top 30 visits, and Dalvin's situation is clearly not settled there.
Yeah, Broncos should call. They should definitely call and see what the Vikings are looking for. The Broncos are going to draft a running back. Like, we've said that all offseason. Like, they don't really have a choice. Like, even if they signed another running back, they probably have to draft one still. But if you bring in Dalvin, then you could justify not using one of those picks there. So if you're going to use a third to get a running back who can hopefully play half the time this season, then instead you can send a fifth to go get Dalvin, potentially because of the age and contract, then I would be all in for it. If you're giving up more than that, I'd need to be sold.
And listen to this. Henry wants to trade Jerry Jeudy for Dalvin Cook straight up.
Don't put this on the internet. No.
Incredible.
No.
No, Henry, I mean, you make good points.
Yeah.
Henry knows exactly where that was going.
Okay, let's get into 2 quick questions on the website. First one from the count. He says, I'm positive that the Russ golf cart stunt was an all-out effort to engender himself to the beer-drinking fans of the Denver metro area. What's more relatable than a few extra strawberry sky pops and turning Brody's into an electric chariot? What say ya? Love the count.
Wow.
Relatable. Kinda like we said.
Like, yeah.
Although I don't think he was doing it with a couple extra strawberry skies.
Exactly.
Maybe the person who was driving the cart was?
Maybe. I mean, you gotta be, right? Like, how do you not?
Well, didn't it say something like they were stuck
Yeah.
and had to go backward?
Like, it's
that
one of those-
part could be a little to help the Broncos players out. Look a
So,
little better.
At fancy golf courses, and that's like the coolest golf course.
Of course, you'd be saying Arrowhead is cool.
No,
of course.
It is the coolest golf course. Like, there is no arguing that one.
Okay.
They need to change the name though. But
What about Burrowhead?
I don't think that they found burrowheads on the ground and named a golf
It's
course
probably
after.
true,
Yeah. You know, they have like the sensors in the golf cart to make sure like people don't drive too close to the green or
Okay.
drive
Oh, wow, I didn't know
probably too
that.
close to the sand traps. And so it
Damn,
kind
that
of
is a
sounded like
fancy golf
it like
golf
kind of
course.
shut down the golf cart because it was too
Oh.
close. Then he said they had to go in reverse. So it's like, I don't know, like did it just roll in because it stopped, the button stopped, or did it, I don't know. It's obviously their fault. They drove a golf cart into a bunker, but it could be because they're hammered. It could be because of some weird things.
Wait, I need clarity and honesty. Have you ever drove a golf cart? Have you ever tipped one over?
No.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
I bet Ryan has.
I bet he has too.
Or at the very least, he's like, oh yeah, I was out there with the boys and like, well, my friends did this.
Right.
Like,
And I was just a passenger.
Exactly.
Last one coming in from Nash Broncos says, all right, another offseason topic. Game broadcast commenters. Who are you guys' favorites? Mine used to be
Ooh.
Tony Romo before he just resorted to saying, I don't know, Jim, before every big moment. Manning cast. Love the Manning cast.
The Manning cast is great.
Obviously, it's not traditional broadcasters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the Sunday night crew.
Yeah. They're solid. They are good. I mean, so I typically don't like the Manning cast type stuff,
Okay.
but that one's obviously awesome. Like, that is the best. You just have to do it so well.
And I also think it's because Peyton Manning associated with the Broncos.
True.
Like if this were what's another like
Tom Brady.
yeah, Tom Brady and his brother. I get how like Boston people may not like the Manning cast.
Exactly.
Especially because it's New York and Denver kind of going up
Yeah.
against them. But for us, it's perfect.
It definitely is. I mean, like Jim Nance is the best.
Yeah, Jim Nance is
He is just the
fantastic.
best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the guys who just call the game, do like a good job, don't add too much of their own. I don't know. Like a lot of people really like Gus Johnson. I'm not a huge fan. Everything's just way over the top.
Yeah,
It's like
fair.
even little plays. It's like, oh, it's like, no. When the time comes, you do that.
Yep.
But then I also feel like there's other guys, like even Tony Romo a little bit. It used to be he got way too excited about everything, which is kind of fun at first. And now I feel like he doesn't get excited enough about most things. He's just kind of like laughing
kinda
and
shut it
giggly.
down. Yeah.
It's not like intense. It's just like, oh, wow, can you believe,
Yep.
And it's not bad, but that's why he wouldn't make my list. I don't know. Jim Nance is definitely the best.
Jim Nance is incredible. And with that, friends, we'll
Wow.
send you out with a little Jim Nance calming effect. But yeah, here's going to kick us out. He's going to unplug our mic soon, so we better get out of here. Thank you so much for rolling with us. We're going to have more draft talk tomorrow, so tune in. Have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.